right, well, welcome to Poppa Paints. I'm Poppa, and if you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. And if you're coming back after having been here before, thank you for coming back. And sometimes I do paintings that take a while. Today I did one with the intent of creating a painting that is easy and quick to do with watercolor. This is by request from a church group that paints as kind of a hobby, and they're doing paintings for their church. This is not the church that I go to with Robin. This is a different church, and they wanted to do, so they asked me if I could demonstrate a simple, easy to do, quick to do winter landscape. That was the whole thing. So okay, I was challenged. I didn't meet the challenge completely. I think I met the challenge as far as the landscape goes, but I didn't get it done in a half hour. I don't remember how long it took, but the video you're about to watch is in real time. So whatever it says on the length in front of you on the video, that's how long it took. Now I did turn off the camera just to dry it, and that may have taken 3 or 4 minutes because I used a dryer, a hot air dryer. But other than that, this is real time, and I know you wanted this in a half hour. So everything but this tree was actually done in a half hour. So the tree is what took us to the 40-minute mark, I think. I think that's how long it ended up becoming. But I kind of like it. It's very traditional looking, almost. What was the card company that used to make all the Christmas cards? Currier and Ives? Was that what it was called? I'm not really sure. But anyway, well, Hallmark, whatever. This was fun. I appreciate the challenge that you gave me to create a painting that you guys could do on your own. Now, I will say this, that everything in this painting is in elements. So the trees in the background, the mountains in the background, the house, the snow on the ground, the river, the tree in the foreground with the branches, the little footprints in the snow, all of that, they're all elements. So you could take those elements and you could make your own painting, your own composition, and just move things around. Maybe make the house to the left instead of the right, maybe make the house farther away. Maybe if you've got the skill, maybe put some snowmen in the picture, or maybe some children playing in the snow, or somebody walking in the snow, maybe even in the distance. But I would just take any lesson, not just this one that I'm showing you today, but think about the elements of that lesson rather than trying to replicate the composition that you see. Make your own composition and use the elements, okay? They're pretty easy to do in this case. So let's go have some fun, and I'll show you how I did this. This one. I'll show you how I did this one right now. All right, good morning. Let's try to do a simple winter scene. We use some very, very washed out colors, and see what we can do here. Take some of this orange, and we'll intend on this to be the sky. And I'm trying to do this one today so that the painting doesn't take too long to do, even though I always emphasize that it shouldn't be about how quick you do it. But in the follow-up question to one of the videos I made, it was pointed out that there's a class that is taught in a church, not the church I go to, but a different church, and they wanted something they could do in the course of a 2-hour class, but they also have other things they do in that 2 hours. So I thought, okay, well, here's the challenge. The challenge is to get give you a subject, I guess, a landscape that will be perhaps accomplishable in a half hour. So that's my goal, even though they have 2 hours. But they said they do other things. They have a meeting, and they have an eating time where they have food, of course. And okay. So I will try to accommodate you with a easy and quick watercolor painting, and I'll try to navigate it or talk about it as I do it, okay? Sometimes I go on tangents and I talk about other things, so that might happen too. Alright, so all I did so far was I did sort of a background with in mind. I'm going to try to do a snowscape in the mountains, kind of Bob Ross-ish, okay? So let's look at orange background, dry, and let's get some blue in there, but I don't want the blue in the sky right now, because I'm up against the sky. I want it to be everywhere but there. So again, I'm going to water it down a lot, and I'm going to water it down and make a little river here in the snow, a very small little river, and just grab some of this blue and just kind of spread it around, water it down, spread it around. And it is kind of haphazard. It is very, very abstract right now, and that's on purpose. Okay. I want to try and put a little house right here, right about here. I'm going to try to do a little barn or something. So let me take some of that blue. And it's very light, so this is going to be hopefully a white roof, like with snow on it. There we go. And that's easy to see for me. It might not be easy to see for you, but it's there, and it's kind of like a mark. And here we go. So there's our little roof, a little river, and I guess that's all we need, really. And let that dry. The background is almost dry. So I'm going to try and take this blue here. And I'll make it not so watered down, a little bit less watered down. Make sure that that's good over there. And I want to take the top of these mountains, the edge closest to the sky. I just want to dab it in there. Just get that in there. Because then we're going to pull it down onto the bottom. So there's that mountain right there. Let's water it down a little bit now underneath it. Kind of get it into almost fading into white. And you'll see why in a little while. You'll see why. Alright, that looks good. I'll let that dry like that. And we'll try to do another one. It's a little bit darker. Maybe a little bit of green in it, a little bit. We'll do the same thing over here. Just do the top part of it. We want that to be the dark part. We want it to fade down. And don't forget the roof of that house right there, that barn. So don't forget that. And down here. There we go. Try to get this blue. The other side of the barn. There we go. So you see what I do? I'm leaving a space here for the barn, for the roof of the barn. Okay. I'm trying to make this a little bit darker than that one in the background. That looks good. Get some more depth over here using the darker colors. And keep it over here. Because we can always add another layer to make it darker. Okay. Alright, well, let's see how that's drying. Nice like that. Let that dry. And we'll go ahead and add some darker blue here. Over here, some of these areas over here. This is going to be that little river. And I'm dabbing it in. Making sure to keep some light and dark together. This is going to be our river. A little tiny river. Wouldn't this be so nice to be in a place like this? This little tiny river. Maybe even a creek that goes up that way. Who knows? Maybe it's flowing actually. And a little bit of a hint of maybe something went through the snow here. Little footprints, etc. Somebody walking over to the house. Alright, now let's take some of that same dark blue that we just used. We'll try to do this other mountain here. See if we can do that. A closer and less steep. There we go. Maybe you can even see some trees in there. It's close enough to see some trees. So just put a little bit of lines there. It'll give the effect of trees. We can do some darkness over here too. Some trees over there. There we go. Okay. over here, we'll just put some, we'll just anticipate some shadows here from something's off the camera, just in the background there. Just anticipate things. The house will have a bit of a snow drift going up to it. Just try to get all of that in there. There we go. Alright, let's let that dry. And to get some of these darker colors. Little brush and try to make some trees over here. Alright, some distant trees, I mean some local trees. Some here. We'll do our best to keep some of this looking like it's got some snow on it. Some snow covered trees. Go. There's a snow-covered tree. And do a few more. That in there. Maybe a little tree next to it. it all done in a half hour. We'll see if I can pull that off. And for everybody else who's not in that class, don't worry about the time. I feel like rushing it is never a good idea. And I really am not rushing it. What I'm trying to do is come up with a composition that has the simplicity necessary for a simple drawing, a simple sketch, a watercolor sketch, if you will. I know some people don't like calling them sketches, but I think it's okay. Oops. Just trying to get this across here. There we go. There's our trees over there. Now let's get some, see if we can get some brown in there. Some kind of a brown, that looks good. Try to get the inside of this barn. Make sure we keep that snow on the roof right there. A little hint of snow. This will be the dark side of the barn. Very dark. Alright, and now we can lighten it down. Remember that orange we used for the sky? Well, that orange is going to be reflecting off the front of this house. So we're going to use that as the front. And again, keep room for the snow on the building. And we'll put our doors and our windows and our shadows in there. It's kind of fun doing a winter scene. For those of you who are new, first of all, thank you for watching. And if you want to subscribe, that would be nice. That would be awesome. But I'm in the process of making cards for my church for their auction that they're having on November 23rd. And the auction is to raise money for people in our community and elsewhere. I found out that some of the money goes to missions and stuff like that overseas where children are needing food, etc. So I didn't know that. See, I really don't know much about the charity part of it, but I like when somebody else does that part, and then I'll do my part to try to help raise some money. Alright, now let's put some, does that dry? Let's try it. It dried really quick. So let's put a couple of like windows here. If this was nighttime, these windows would be bright, but it's not nighttime, so they're dark. Just create some shadows here. contrast is everything, you know. Large shapes and contrast. If I was going to kind of give a rule for a good composition, large shapes and contrast. Just remember those two things. I think that helps a lot. I guess this isn't the barn after all. This looks like a house now. See how things change? The art has a mind of its own. See, I get some dark on here. Let's get a shadow underneath the eave of the house. And we'll put a dark side on the chimney. There. Make that door a little darker. This window's a little darker. This side of the chimney a little darker. Those distant trees. Okay. Now let's grab some of this blue that we were using earlier. Let's go ahead and put some more shadows on the roof. It's not perfectly white. It's got a lot of contours. It's very subtle. Very subtle. The snow has gathered on the roof and it's leaving shadows, of course, you know. There's still shadows. And maybe we can make this side of the barn a little bit darker. Maybe there's a fence around it too. Some kind of vertical lines over here. Just a little something over there. Okay. We got our house there. Let's put some trees poking up from the back behind the house. That way it gives it a little bit of contrast. You can see some sticking up. There we go. Little tiny hints of trees way in the background. And again, a snowy scene is always fun. Fun to paint. If you live in the snow, you probably can't wait to get out of it. But I don't live in the snow. I live in Florida, and we got a hurricane coming again. Oh my gosh. This one is aiming right toward us, too. So, gotta take it seriously, because you never know. That last one was a big one. I know North Carolina got the brunt of that one. Here in Florida, we got a lot of damage, too, from Helene. And this new one is called Milton, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they named it, Milton. So get out your Milton Bradley games. How about that? Milton Bradley. Alright, let's get some, let's put some depth around the edge of this water now here. Little tiny hints of darkness. Coming together nicely now. Yeah, it looks nice. There we go. That looks alright, huh? Now I'm thinking about putting some foreground trees here. So let's do that. Let's grab a larger brush. And let's start with the browns, I think. Because we can always add the darks to it later. Well, here we go. Let's go right across the front of that house we just so meticulously painted. How am I doing with time? Oh, it's over a half hour. Okay, well, you could do that right there. That's a half-hour painting right there. But I want to take it a little farther. I want to go all the way to the bottom with this. Create a foreground tree. So I'm going to go right across that house. Going to obscure the house a lot. Just take the whole tree, just paint it right in there. Yeah, so the half-hour goal was met. It did look like a good painting at the half-hour part, right? The half-hour point. Here we go, there's our tree. And now we spread it out. Get some darkness on this side. There we go. of course it's winter, so the trees have no leaves, just empty branches. Just kind of making some rocks here or something. Here we go. There's our snowy scene. Now we need to put some more branches on that tree. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it to it. Lots of branches. Ready? Here we go. All the branches we want, reaching everywhere. Lots of little branches. The trees are very patient. They wait all winter long. For everything they need to come back. And then they come back. They do it again. I guess we don't need to do that much more here. It's just kind of fun to do it though. Isn't it fun to paint branches? It's just a lot of fun. Alright, now let's take some of the white paint and make some more snow, more little snowy spots, okay? With a different brush. take the white paint and put it in there. And now we will come back to it with a brush, a little tiny brush. That looks good, a little tiny brush. We'll put some little snow on these branches over here that didn't quite get snow. We'll put it on these trees over here. Yeah, I like that. I like how that looks. There we go. And let's put some snow on the tree, because you know how snow will stick to a tree. And snow will settle on some of the branches. And the last touch, I think what we should do, what do you think? Should we put some snowflakes? Make it snow? Sure, why not? Why not make it snow a little bit? Just a few randomly placed snowflakes in our snowy picture. You almost can't see the snowflakes because everything is so white. There's a little bit of white around the edges of these windows. You know how snow gathers on windows. There we go. Now the only thing I want to do, this is kind of a me thing, I'm going to take this back of this card and I'm going to smear and spread around all the white paint. All the paint that's on the back of the card. And smear it around. And then when it dries, it'll have this nice, cool, watercolory look on the back. I don't know why I started doing this, but I did start doing this and everybody loves it. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But it is kind of a cool look when it dries. And I'll show you that too. I'll have to turn off the camera because it takes a while to dry. But I do have a hair dryer, or I have a hot air blower. But I would use a hair dryer if I were you, because it's not as hot as the one I got. I only have this hot one because I don't have a hair dryer. All right, some of the paper's coming up. No biggie. If you use pure cotton paper, that won't happen. But you know, when you're making a greeting card, it's kind of fun to just work with what you have. All right, now let me let it dry. I'll be right back. All right, well, it's dry now. Take some of those loose pieces of paper off of there and fold it, and we'll make it a card. All right, so there's our easy watercolor winter landscape. And I hope you guys have fun doing it, because bottom line is, get together, have some fun with each other, and it doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't have to look, definitely doesn't have to look like this, but you kind of can use the elements of what I used. And by the way, the watercolor I used was this pan watercolor. I don't even know what it's called. But it's just easy to find watercolor. I got it at Hobby Lobby, I'm pretty sure. And then the white I used was this bleed proof white from Dr. P.H. Martin's. And I got this as a gift from a viewer. Thank you again. And the brushes were whatever I had on hand, some old, some new. But bottom line is, have fun. And I'll talk to you later. And thank you for watching. All right, bye.